We are back in your ears, and it's so good to be
Are we
back
loud
for,
enough?
for another week. And, you know, it's like this sort of excitement is brewing, isn't it?
I know,
Sort of,
I can
think
feel
it's
it in my waters.
The
Am I
sun
drinking
is
enough water,
shining
Amelia?
here in Sydney,
It
and I hope
is.
everyone else is feeling as good as what
You
we
and
are
I
at
are
the moment.
on a roll at the
We're
moment.
on a roll and
Some
a high.
actually remarkable things coming up on this podcast. Even Nicola and I have fallen off our seats 10 times this week. So I think sometimes the universe just connects. You know, when you're ready, and you and I are more than ready at the moment.
We're
just,
So
we're
everyone,
rocking it.
Thank you for listening, and also thank you for subscribing to YouTube. And for the ones who haven't, please do.
Yeah, it's
because
free, by the way.
It's free.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me how much.
It's now becoming a really popular way, so you can not only hear us, you can see us.
Uh-oh.
Also our guests.
Watch
and
out,
everyone
here
else
we
there.
come.
But it's a really popular way of doing it. But the weekend has just gone past, and how was it for you, Daddy?
It's Nick. I'm not allowed to say Nickers
No.
because I can say that to her because she's my buddy.
cut
But her
that.
name's
We'll cut that out.
no, we won't.
Yes,
Her
we
name's
will. We're cutting
Nicola.
it.
Nicola.
Yeah, I don't like
Nicola,
that.
we had a
We'll
beautiful
cut it.
weekend.
Sam, it's cut.
We had a
No, don't
beautiful
like it's
weekend.
changed.
I'm only being a bitch
Yeah,
Nickers to
no.
you, Sam.
No,
It's
no.
Nicola.
Yeah.
Nicola,
Yes.
great weekend. We saw David the Medium, who's been on our podcast, who actually blew up the downloads on our podcast twice.
Yeah.
And, you know, the irony, Nicola and I were very fortunate to be, I don't know, like 4 rows back. And he explained to us the next day, he said, spirit came through him and our spirits were the first to surface.
I know.
And I thought,
This is at the
that's
Sydney Opera House.
incredible.
Yeah, so we were sort of kind of blown away. And David the Medium, it was, you know, talk about, he's been twice. We've seen him now twice at the Opera House. And he
Yeah.
actually broke a record as well. But he's the only psychic ever to go twice consecutively at the Sydney Opera House. But tune in to him. But
He's what he
it
did
was the
though,
person
that
sitting
evening.
behind us too had
Yeah.
lost her mother, Lara.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it was just, it's incredible. But, you know, as we sort of say too, it's really
But
comforting.
and having
listening to
said that,
him
she
about
came
people who've
through
passed.
and
Yes.
chatted like her mother was talking to her and comforting her by saying, "Don't worry, where I passed on, and I'm happy and I'm watching over you." As you said. Like, it's like, I said to her later afterwards, I had to chat, and I said, was that like a big hug? She said, like, I've never had in my life.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are very nervous with psychics.
Oh, yes.
And I was too, to be
Yeah.
honest, initially, when our mothers came through. Like, he knew their nicknames, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. But
Tune in
that
back
made
to
me
those
feel
ones
happy
with
when
David.
I spoke to her, and she was, because I know she was really emotional, but she was like so blown away, and so many others in the audience. And look, something else that's happening at the moment.
Hey,
it's
we're watching The Bachelor. And hey, it's actually,
golden.
It's the golden, because you're in your golden years.
Yeah.
And look, we've had Bianca Dye, who was only on, like, not that long ago. It's like episode 37
That's
in
it,
this
isn't it?
season
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So she's one of the contestants. And so, you know, it was only sort of like a week ago, really, that it aired by the time this drops. And it's so good seeing her. And I actually had another girlfriend on who used to fly with the airlines.
Ooh.
And it's just wonderful to sort of see women in our age group going out
we'll
there
chat about
again,
that a little
you know,
bit.
yeah.
Look, what I loved is that the fact that Nicola and I had this beautiful opportunity with Bianca. She did say there was something going on, and she kept it, under wraps. But we continually said after that interview, we continually said to each other how authentic and real. Like someone like that in this day and age, not wearing a mask is so refreshing. It's so rewarding. And the fact that she's in that show, in my opinion, she'll make it. I really do. But look, on that note, 'cause
Everyone's made it by going in there, I think. You know, like it really
have,
is.
haven't
yeah,
they?
they have. And, you know,
Some-
and I agree with you, Di.
Some out
you
there.
know, she certainly has, because she's vulnerable. And she comes out and sort of says some
Yeah.
of her fears. And I really give people a big sort of tick for that.
So do I.
You know, the longer I live,
Yeah.
I really admire people that you can sort of actually share your vulnerabilities.
I think
and
it's
sort of
healthy.
share that. I think it is too.
Really
So
healthy.
I'm pretty
Okay.
excited.
Building
Who have we
up,
got?
we're going to
That's
round
right.
everyone up and give you the rundown. We have Amelia Phillips. Welcome to Over the Back Fence. Amelia, who's joined us right now, has spent more than 2 decades helping Australians live healthier, more balanced lives. Amelia Phillips is a nutritionist, exercise scientist, that's an interesting one, TV presenter, entrepreneur, I'm exhausted, and health advocate who has guided over, you ready for it, guys? 500,000 women toward better health. Good on you.
Aw, thanks.
Look at that.
I know.
From owning her first gym when she was just 24 to co-founding the Michelle Bridges 12-week body transformation to setting a Guinness World Record, I want to unpack that one too, and being named one of BRW's top 50 places to work. Amelia has seen every side of the health industry, the good, the hype and the hard-earned truths. So these days she's focused on helping women in midlife cut through the noise from the so-called, I love this line, longevity hacks. So really, I could keep reading, but I just want to chat to you. So welcome, Amelia.
Hi,
welcome to the Back
ladies.
Fence.
I am so looking forward to chatting with you, and I am so with you on the Golden Bachelor.
Oh, really? What's your thoughts?
You know, I just love seeing women over 50 on TV, and not just in reality TV, but in journalism as well. Think of some incredible journalists out there like Lee Sales, Lisa Wilkinson, and you know, the work that we do, which is not that dissimilar to journalism, where we're asking questions, telling stories. If I didn't have those women as my worthy idols out there, I don't know if I would want to be putting my face out there, but I see those women and the longevity that they have on TV, and I go, you know what? I'm going to keep going because we have so much life left in us. And I think women over 50 have such a special wisdom. And that's the reason why we're one of the only species that lives post our reproductive years, us and orcas. You know, I think it's so important that women over 50 in this amazing wisdom, that our lessons get shared and that we still stay relevant and have a voice. So bring on the Golden Bloody Bachelor.
Yay! I'm with you in every. That was very well said.
Yeah, wowza.
Yeah,
I love
beautiful.
hearing that because, you know, you've done TV work yourself, and your work we're talking about with a golden one too is Tracy Grimshaw. You
Yes.
know, she's another one right up there as well.
And I got to work with her last year, and she
Lovely
is
person.
a freaking weapon.
Yes.
Like, she walks into that room and everyone stands to attention.
Wow.
And she...
But she comes from the heart too.
Well, but this is what's so fantastic.
Yeah.
And she's a take no bullshit kind of woman. And so she's got this beautiful, and I thought that the show I worked with her on was called Do You Want to Live Forever? It was a show all about longevity. But I loved her positioning on it because you had her hosting with Dr. Nick Coatsworth, and she represented the viewer. She represented the person that's coming in with, you know, a little bit of a question mark, like, what is this longevity crap, basically?
Yes.
And, you know, I like my red wine. And so she brought a real humility to the show, but also because of, I guess, her strength and her wisdom, she was also able to bring credibility at the same time. So really, at first when we were like, who are the hosts? Because, you know, I got signed onto the show before. I knew it was going to be Dr. Nick, but I didn't know. And at first when they said it was Tracy Grimshaw, my first reaction was, Tracy? Like, I was going, why would it be Tracy? And then as the show developed, I was like, aha, this is why. And she is so well loved as well. I mean, is it almost 2 decades on ACA, Current Affair, and, you know, she saw it all. So, yeah, that's exactly why I love seeing women like
Look,
that.
I agree. You know, one of the things that annoys me, and I think I might have mentioned to Nicola previously, is often on your feed on Instagram, you'll see photographs of actresses or various people been on television from when they were younger comparing to when they're older, and they'll deliberately find a really bad older photo of them. And God, that annoys me. I'm like, what are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
You're like, well, I instantly go into what you're saying. I go, aren't they amazing? They've just done a film or they've just started a new show. As Nicola and I say, it's a whole new beginning.
Yeah.
That is our stock standard line.
Yeah.
It's a whole new beginning.
I feel like it's a reinvention. I can already feel it happening. I'm 46, so, you know, I'm kind of in that perimenopause stage. I've got 4 young kids, so I am still in that really busy season. But already I'm just carefully laying down some little, I guess, pebbles on my path forward so I can set up my golden years, because I can see how important what I'm doing now, how it can shape me. And I'm kind of getting excited to get to that kind
That's
of
wonderful.
no
I love
F's
hearing
given
that,
stage.
and I think it's a great thing of, like, you know, the thing of going excited by life. And, and excited by
What do you say? You've got a great
I
line.
always just say, do what you love what you do.
Every
Oh,
day,
I
yeah.
love
She
that.
says that most days.
Sort of like do
love what you do.
And that's sort of
It's
like
so
our
Nicola.
line. So like I'm
Yeah.
going, be in love with your life. And doesn't
And you
really
do.
matter.
You shine every day,
I do.
Nicola.
I try, like
You
everyone.
do.
What's your
She
secret?
wakes up
Have
shining.
ups and
It's her
downs.
DNA. Her
No,
her father was like that too. He used to
Part
make
of it
me
is,
joyful.
Part of it is, and then as we'll discuss through you, part of it's your mindset, part of it is all those things there of who you are. And like anything, it's exercise, mind and spirit there. You have to keep on working at
You
it.
do.
Doesn't matter sort of really what it is. But let's go back to you.
Yeah.
So tell us, but if people who don't know who Amelia Phillips is, tell us a bit about you. Di said, an incredible intro.
Yeah, like
But
remarkable.
like, where did it sort of start, and how did you want to get into this whole field of wellness? And
You
tell us a little
know,
bit about the background of
I
you.
can trace it all the way back to year 3 at school.
What?
You know, you have these
Wow.
core memories. Do you have these like
I
really
do.
strong
I do.
core? I have a core memory of being in the playground, Balmain Public School, and it was a biology lesson, and the teacher had one of those big clear plastic transparent buckets filled with water, and she brought out a lamb's heart, and she said, "I'm going to show you how the heart works." And half the class was like,
Me.
"Oh my God," squealing. And I've got this core memory. I'm actually getting goosebumps telling you about it now, where I was just like, oh my goodness. And I was like zoomed in and I'm looking in, almost like looking in a fish tank. And she's got her hand under the water and she's squeezing this heart, showing us how the water goes into the valves and out the other side. And ever since then,
at school?
No. Well, I didn't really
would've
like
been
all those
sick.
biology
No, Nicola
stuff.
and I would have run to the
Yeah,
toilet.
you were the
Yeah.
squealing ones.
Yeah.
I was
I
the
don't-
squealing ones, yeah.
I love the
No.
fire and the stuff in science. Yeah, I love it a lot. But not.
and there would have been,
not,
but there would have been
ugh.
something that triggered you at school in a good way. Something that
They're usually boys.
Yes,
Boy-
Grade 3 we're talking about.
Seriously.
Grade 3.
Oh, kindy, I fell in love with a boy.
Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
kidding.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
cute.
So that's
For me,
amazing.
I
Yeah.
just fell in love with the human body, and I guess from that point on, it kind of grew and it morphed, and I went through a really tough time in high school. You know,
what
tough for
way?
me. I went through a bit of an identity crisis, as you know, lots of young girls do, boys do as well, and I developed an eating disorder, and it was what I would call your garden variety eating disorder.
Right,
It wasn't, you know.
I hear that 'cause I heard a lot about
and
eating
I
disorders.
don't. I often talk as well about big T and little T trauma, because I feel like whenever we're talking about something hard that we've been through, there's going to be someone that's gone through something a hell of a lot worse, and there's also going to be other people that went through it to not the level that you. So I like to kind of think of it as the big T and the little T trauma. And in my world, I see it like a little T trauma. It wasn't as bad as what people went through, but it was enough to really mess with me for a good few years. It really stemmed from a place of not fitting in. I was at an all-girls school. I'd been away. I lived in America for a year, and when I came back, everything had just changed. And all my girlfriends were these amazing, voluptuous, blonde girls. They'd all hit puberty. They had these beautiful boobs, and they were into the boys. And I was a late bloomer.
Right.
And I was that kind of little scrawny kid, and I wasn't particularly confident at the time. And it was also during the 90s heroin chic when Kate Moss was on the cover. And so I thought, well, I'm never going to be like these gorgeous, voluptuous girls, but I can be like that super skinny bitch on the front cover.
Amazing how you can reinvent yourself to fit
And
in.
But it shows the power of advertising as well.
It
too,
was-
doesn't
and-
it? And influences
And honestly,
disempowering from the
yeah,
power of
it,
it.
and
Yes.
and I do.
So
I can
true.
see how I got swept up in that, and I just stopped eating. And then I went through. It was really interesting. It was probably only maybe a year to 18 months. My mum used to make my mum. I've got the best parents in the world. My mum used to make these beautiful lunches for me, and I would get to school, and the first thing I did when I got to school is I would throw that lunch in the bin,
What would
because
you
I
eat?
knew that I would get so hungry that if I still had it in my bag, I would have to eat it. So I would always eat a little breakfast at home, and then I would go into school. It was my goal for the morning. As soon as I get to school, unpack my school bag, lunch in the bin, and then I just wouldn't eat.
Really?
Sad, isn't
I
it?
could never
And
do
you're
that.
certainly not alone because there's so
No,
many people
no.
who are like you. So it's kind of good to share these experiences.
I love that you
Yeah.
asked that question, Nicola, because it's a really beautiful way to flow into why you're in
It's
the
amazing
nutrition
how you,
world.
Well, it
you talk about
was-
empathy for
Yes,
people.
absolutely.
It was actually exercise that saved me, because during that 18 months that I was just in this complete funk, I can liken it to just being completely numb. I felt nothing for 18 months. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel sadness either. I was just a walking zombie. And you talk a lot, or you see a lot of teenagers, there's a lot of talk around self-harm at the moment, and that was never a thing. But I reckon if it was a thing when I was a teenager, I would have done it, because they say that they do it because they want to feel something.
Yeah.
And I felt nothing.
Fascinating.
You all
Yeah.
know so many people who've done that. I know my daughter was at school. She knew a lot of
I know.
Yeah, and
people.
you just I've got a dear friend whose daughter is going through it right now. But then my older sister Olivia, joined the local gym, and I idolize Olivia, and whatever she did I wanted to do. So she was like, "Come on down, I got a free pass," and all right, I'll come down. And we joined this circuit class, and I remember it was this massive warehouse gym, Balmain Fitness, and you just walk in and the music's pumping and there's 1,000 people sweating. And
You found your tribe.
I walked in and went, what is this place? And then we did this circuit class, and I couldn't even last 10 minutes. I almost fainted because I was so
no nutrients.
No
yeah,
food.
I was
Yeah.
so undernourished. And so I started doing deals with myself because I really loved it. I really loved, and it was the first time I felt something. So I was like, all right, Mills, when you get to school, you can throw all your lunch out, except you can keep a quarter of your sandwich and have that because you're going to the gym tonight. And it was actually, I cured my eating disorder without dealing with the mental side of it yet, just through the exercise. It started to make me feel again. But interestingly, once I was out the other side, I'd gained some weight and I was exercising. It was actually when the mental health stuff really began. And that's when that was actually a harder 3 years than the 18 months of numbness.
Because you're feeling it.
Because
Interesting.
it all came out, and I had to, it was actually my dear, dear friends, and I know your podcast is so much about the importance of friendships, and I look now at my besties who are still my besties and godmothers and to all my children and whatnot. It was their support that got me through those years. And I think it's made me such a better coach and teacher and I guess person in the health space, because I had to learn self-compassion from a very young age. And so, it was a tough few years, but I'm so grateful for the experience. And it's really what started and kick-started my career and got me into something that I've been doing.
Just beautiful,
really,
beautiful,
thank you so
beautiful
much
roll
for
on to what
sharing
you're
that,
doing.
Amelia.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And just for anyone listening too, or if they've got, like a daughter or a granddaughter or their friend or something who's going through, is there anything during that time of numbness when I guess you block everything out that you could say to step in and try and help that person? Or what would you say?
It's a great question, because when you're going through it in that numb state, you really are not making good choices, and you're not really capable in that thickness. And so often it's the support and the gentle nudging of the people, your loved ones around you, that just kind of gently nudges you. If someone met me head on, it would have been a big explosion and I would have rebelled even more. But say, for example, my best friend Sam, we had a tutor. We both went and saw this tutor, I think it was year 11 or year 12, and she happened to also be a counsellor as well. And Sam just whispered in her ear and said, listen, I don't think she needs help with her maths. I think she needs help with her head.
Wow.
And Peggy, this beautiful tutor, she came in one day and she goes, hey, I can see you're a bit tired. Can you draw me a picture of your house? And she said, and draw a pond and a lake. Anyway, it's a I don't even know, I'm not a psychologist, but there's something to do with the way you draw a house and the pond and the path that tells you
Expresses
a lot.
what's
and
going
she
on.
said, it's interesting that you've drawn the path. What's it called?
Oh, it's just a charity we get involved in, and it's all about Be Centre, BE, guys. And it's all about helping children through creativity. Exactly what you're describing.
Tanya
And
Taylor Frost has
we
been
do a
on
lot
our
for them.
podcast, this
It's
season
very
as
powerful.
well. Tune into that
Powerful
one with Nikki
medium.
Andronicus as well. Yeah.
I just loved how she just said, hey, it's really interesting that you drew the pond in this bottom corner really separate from the house, because actually water represents your emotions and it seems quite disconnected. And then she said, hey, if you have any dreams over the next few weeks, let me know what they are. And, at the time, I was kind of curious.
Exciting, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Whee!
started
Like a
writing my
game.
dreams down, and then she started interpreting them. And I started to learn more about myself. And, we're all a little bit, let's face it, a bit egocentric and selfish, and we want to learn and understand ourselves better. And so I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then I was like, I had this dream where there was a tidal wave and and I was on the edge. And then the next week I had a dream where I was like swimming with a dolphin. And as I was learning about myself, I was healing myself. And it was such a gentle way to come out of it, as opposed to a big, where you've got mental health issues, we're sending you to a psychiatrist, and not to discount that at all, because I think the whole industry has come such a long way. But that was my journey. And
there's so much to unpack with you, and I love that we've started with this beautiful journey,
Absolutely,
Nicola. I
yes,
really...
yes.
What a gorgeous way to start, truly. It's like you've built this lovely foundation stone, so people are sort of sitting on with their legs swinging over, go, okay, where are we going to go from here? How exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, today we're going to unpack, obviously, nutrition and exercise, and, of course, midlife. We call it the new beginning. I'd love
Golden years.
The golden bloody bachelor bloody years.
Decades and
I know
decades.
it's a weirdo thing. I'm going to swing around, only because you mentioned your mum then and cooking. I grew up in a summer household where my mum used to always cook cakes and desserts and things.
Oh, mine too.
Yes,
Yep.
and I did mum.
And for 8.
Did mum?
Oh, yeah, we're huge. That's what I
That
cook.
was
I
that
love.
era, right?
Absolutely.
And I was listening to you and your
Sponges with
great.
cream and jam.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Well, she makes
stretch.
Nicola makes the best desserts.
Do you?
Oh, she's incredible. If you're going to have a party, just make sure
Oh,
Nicola
dessert.
brings. I call one of them kangaroo hops.
Yeah.
So, okay, all I want to ask, and for all of you listening, I'm sure I would say, I don't know the odds, I'm going to guess. I would
Yep.
say 60 to 70% of the people listening would have a small, mine's a little bit above small, sugar addiction. I know you had it. Can you
Yes.
just talk about that and A, talk about your story behind that, and B, what are some of the ways to overcome that?
Yeah.
Because it's my greatest downfall, and I know it for a lot of people. You're more savoury, aren't you? Or
I
You'll
like
go for the
chocolate.
nuts.
Chocolate and nuts. I'm not a lollies
no,
person.
she's
Yeah.
not lolly.
Don't like
I'll
sugar
go, here's
that
a
way.
snake. She'll go, oh no.
Yeah.
I'll have
never like
those.
lollies.
No, but do you like you love
Chocolate.
cooking, baking? Do you like cakes?
Yes.
And
She used to.
Yeah.
We party now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what was your story like?
Yeah.
As in, you grew
well,
up with
yeah.
rice puddings and
Yeah,
whatever.
I blame my mum.
Yeah,
Mum,
in a
if you're
beautiful way,
listening.
with love.
Yes,
Yeah, I blame you with so much love.
Yeah.
No, she knows I love her.
Yeah.
But my mum, similar to yours,
Yeah.
was the best cook, and we would have dessert every night of the week.
Yep.
And I am talking not just some little thing tossed in on the side. She would make rice pudding, and she would make summer pudding.
Did you get
and
Spanish delight? Or am I'm a little bit older than you?
Turkish delight?
No, it was Spanish
No,
delight.
what's
Never had
Spanish
that.
It was
delight?
out of a bloody packet. we
Oh,
loved it.
No,
It was
if she was a
it was
bit
like moosey.
if she was a bit disorganised, she would get out of the packet
The
the
Maggie beer
creme.
from scratch.
Do you remember the creme
You're
caramels?
funny.
Oh, yes.
In a plastic,
God,
and you would
yes.
turn them upside down, and then they have a
Yes.
little plastic thing that you'd
Yeah.
like snap, and
Yeah.
then all the caramel
Yes.
sauce. So
Yeah.
that would be if she was, not quite organised enough.
Yes.
Anyway, Mum, I love you, but oh my gosh, you gave me a sugar addiction. So every night until a couple of years ago, 7 days a week, I would have full desserts. And, given the industry that I'm in and given all the, nutrition that I espouse,
Absolutely.
it was starting to feel very incongruent with my values. And I always had a great excuse. So like in your 20s, you can get away with anything.
Sure
Whatever.
you can.
I would
I've
have
got a hangover.
Yeah, I would have like
Yeah.
the tubs of
Yeah.
Sara Lee Ultra Chocolate. I'd just
I've
sit
just
there with
broken
a
up with
spoon.
him. I want a
know.
tub of ice cream.
I've got a photo of me
Yeah.
sitting on the floor like with ice cream. Anyway, and then in my 30s was my marathon training era where I was running marathons, and you can eat anything pretty much when
Sure.
you're running marathons, when
Yeah.
you're running that much. So yeah, dessert was fine. Then I went in my baby making era, 4 kids in 5 years, either pregnant or breastfeeding. There's extra calories, not a problem. But then when Ella was around 5, I kind of ran out of excuses of this dessert. Like, I really shouldn't be having this anymore. And so I tried to stop a few times. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to, stop a habit that is just ingrained.
Well, I didn't call a Uber like you didn't get a bloody ice cream delivered.
Yeah.
It was
I'm so embarrassed that
what
I
was the
said
one
that
you
on my
ordered?
podcast.
Because I had that in my freezer.
So I don't know if I want to tell your listeners this because I don't want to unlock Pandora's
You said it on your
box.
podcast. Go
But
for it.
Uber Eats delivers magnums.
Magnums, that's
All right,
it.
yeah.
I
love
literally
Magnums.
ordered one Magnum off Uber Eats for
Look,
$15.
I hear you. When I moved a few years ago with and my partner had children of all different ages or whatever, and some of them would absolutely do that. And I'd go, really? And they'd go, yep, we just feel like an ice cream there. And they would order it.
Yeah.
Or a coffee. And I'd go, you're kidding. And so you can get...
It's true.
really
See, we
anything
live
you
further
want.
out of town, so we
You know,
don't
yes.
get
Yeah.
that opportunity.
So
but-
anyway,
It was
clearly
happening
it
when I
was...
was in Cremorne.
Yes, well, of course.
All the time, yeah.
It's an addiction, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone. There are so many people that struggle with this, and they really, it's this horrible feeling when you know something's got a power over you.
Yeah.
And when you logically know that you shouldn't do this thing, or you should do this thing if it's, say, for example, not exercising and you're trying to exercise. But for me, I decided to really take a curious approach as to why this had taken such a big hold of me, and also take a very strategic approach to getting over it, which I have done, and I'm happy to share with you how I did it if you like.
I want to know.
Yeah,
Point form,
Well,
please.
also for the listeners too.
Yeah,
I mean,
show notes
what's
too.
wrong with having dessert? Or is it just because you're having that every night? Or tell us. I mean, because sometimes you think
You're
well,
allowed
a
to
little
have
bit
it
of
sometimes.
100, and that is
So,
such a great question and such a great way to frame it, because if you love it, have it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
And
Within reason.
Here's the thing. Type 2 diabetes is the fastest growing preventable condition in Australia, and type 2 diabetes comes from an inability to manage our blood sugar, our blood glucose.
Good to know.
So obesity as well in Australia is growing, albeit it's actually slowing down, which is great. So some of the messaging is landing.
Is that Ozempic, you think?
Probably. I actually know that the research hasn't quite caught up. Like, usually those big national surveys are a few years behind us. But no, there are some other factors in play there. But anyway, the point being that our diet, Australians in general, we are overfed. Okay, we are overfed and we are undernourished, and sugar plays a big part in that. And so does processed food, ultra processed food. And most of the desserts that I'm eating or was eating at the time were ultra processed, whether it be, the ice cream or the popcorn's actually not too bad in the whole
Didn't you have
scheme of
chocolate
things.
on the bottom of
And
it?
I would have chocolate. I call it the bomb.
I listened to
I
rewinded it because I'm like, what do you mean popcorn's fine?
Yeah,
oh,
and
it's got chocolate at the
chocolate
bottom.
in the bottom, and then
Right.
some people like the popcorn that's drizzled in chocolate. Anyway, the whole point is these things that completely spike our blood sugar levels. They have this habit of overtaking our pathways, our neurological pathways, our addiction pathways. They work the exact same way as a drug addiction, where they hijack our pathways and they make us crave more and more and more. So it's a kind of a zero-sum game, because even if you're having a little bit over time, your body will crave more and more and more. So here's the thing. If you are listening to this podcast, you're a healthy weight. You have healthy blood sugars because you've had your HbA1c tested, you had your fasting glucose, your insulin resistance marker, which is called a HOMA-IR. All of that is perfect. Go for it. You're fine. But if you know that you're carrying a little bit of extra weight, or that your blood sugar markers are tracking in the wrong direction, then yes, it does need to be something that you need to address, because we are going to be here a really long time, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about a couple of really cool studies and in a little bit.
So give us some simple examples of how we can help with the sugar addiction.
Yeah. So first of all, pick the time of the day that it's the hardest for you, because for a lot of people, they focus on their whole diet. They're like, I need a whole diet overhaul, and they do something quite drastic, and it's very hard to sustain. But for me, it was after dinner snacking. So forget about the rest of the day.
I'm the same.
I just needed to focus on that, and I knew that doing 7 days a week wasn't going to cut it. So I made a commitment to myself that I'm just going to get a handle on this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night are going to be the nights that I don't have any dessert. And I know that sounds silly to those of you that don't have a dessert problem, but And the other thing I needed to do was I needed to change my environment, because the routine, we're such creatures of routine. And I did a great episode with Linda Phillips all about habit change, and she has a method called the Tiny Habits Method, which is all about making the habit change, breaking it down into really, really tiny pieces. That's why I'm only doing it 3 nights a week, not 7.
Right.
So I completely changed my routine by changing my environment. So after the kids went to bed, instead of going down, hitting the couch, turning on Netflix, which I'd tried before, and then just having this gaping hole where a beautiful bowl of dessert with the bomb of chocolate was.
Yeah.
I completely changed my environment, which was I put the kids to bed and I went straight to my bedroom and no Netflix. I didn't hit the couch. Now, at first I was really resentful because as a mum, you know, you've
Your time.
Would you read, or would you have that time of some pleasure?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you hit the nail on the head,
More
Nicola.
chill.
So what I did
Nice
was
to do that.
I created this
I love that.
self-care
Book in
ritual.
bed.
But it took a bit of, you know, it didn't just organically happen.
No.
I went and bought the Dr. Teal's Epsom salt baths. They're so good. The magnesium bath salt. I love the bath soak. I love the coconut. I love the, it'll come to me. But there's a couple of really, the
So
lavender's
basically,
beautiful.
you're having a ritual.
Ritual.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
the bath. I would do some aromatherapy,
Fabulous.
and I would have a pile of books. And of course, within a few weeks, I was preferring my bedtime ritual to
this
my
is
couch.
powerful.
And so what actually started to happen was I was like, actually on a Thursday night, I was like, I'm actually going to stick to the bedroom. Of course, the hubby was happy that I was spending more time in the bedroom as well.
Here she
Literally,
is. Exactly.
Shreddy.
It's interesting when you sort of said that too, because I think it's a mutual friend of all of ours, and she's been on our first episode is Lee Holmes.
Yes,
and I remember
lovely.
from back,
isn't she
back then,
beautiful?
Di saying to Lee, going, you know, my little weakness is I do like to have a chocolate and maybe a few more chocolates at the end of the night. I've got a real sort of like a sweet tooth
I
then.
do.
And I remember Lee even saying, she goes, I think also
right.
you might think, she said magnesium.
Yeah.
And then she said, I think you might need a hug.
I need a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I
just
love
thought,
that.
wow,
And you
thought,
and you
isn't
know
that
what?
lovely
In
what you're
reflection,
saying? You're giving
you'll give yourself a hug.
It's
Yeah,
a self
I
hug,
know.
and it
Good 360.
100% works. Yeah, you guys are vibing today.
We
No,
are
I'm loving
vibing.
that.
We're all
I'm loving it all.
No, but I think a couple of key takeouts here for anyone that's like, I really need to fix this sugar addiction. I think is to, number one, pick that particular time of the day and start there.
Yeah.
Number 2 is you need to come up with an alternative that still feels nourishing or satisfying in some way, shape, or form. So, for example, an apple's not going to cut it if you're going to. But
God,
there are actually lots of healthy swaps out there. Whether you're doing a chia pudding, if you feel like you do need something. For me, the changing of the environment made a massive difference, and it made the alternative more attractive. But interestingly, what then ended up happening is that because I had reset my neurological pathways around sugar, the addiction pathways dissipated. So suddenly on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, I wasn't craving anymore. And interestingly, because I always, even when I was eating meals during the day, my main meals, I would be halfway through my meal and feel like, oh, what's going to be my little sweet thing
me
I have
too.
afterwards? It completely has disappeared.
It's like you put a spoke in the wheel.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm actually not craving it now.
Yeah, and so of course I still do have sugar on the weekends, and of course if we're out, and I'm not one of those complete I quit sugar, but it does not have a hold over me anymore.
Good girl, well
like
done.
it used to.
I'm
Yeah,
like you.
I
I'm
think
doing
so.
little bears. I eat the
so
carrot
they're cool. I
bears.
love them.
So I've
Yes.
moved on from what you were saying,
Yeah.
going to the pantry. I want that.
Yeah.
I've moved it all on. I've got these little carrot bears. They're peppermint, and I love them, and they're tiny.
Yeah,
and
you
You just sometimes just don't have it available. You just don't buy it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. Then I get.
Yeah, if it's
I
not
don't
in the
get a
house.
bloody
So
Uber
just thinking,
with
yeah,
a
but
Magnum.
sometimes you stop writing. Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Let's
Yeah.
get into
exactly.
exercise in midlife.
Yes.
Are we
Yeah.
doing too much? Are we doing too little? For someone that's listening, it doesn't do it. Just
Yeah,
give us
people
some.
will go, I
Yeah.
hit
actually
us
don't
with
really
it.
want to do it.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you
What do
ladies
you think?
exercise?
God,
We
yes.
do.
Yeah?
Yes.
She's
I
the
want
white
to know
walker.
what you do. Tell me
Okay,
on a
start
week.
with Nicola.
Yeah, tell me
I
what you do.
I walk. I'm a big walker.
Fantastic.
And I went away on a hiking trip with my girlfriends who went hiking. We did drink a bit of wine as well, so hiking and wine.
She walks the dog
But I've
every
got
day
I've got a
for
big
hours.
dog. And so my also think interesting you're saying that I was thinking substitute things too, change of lifestyle. I do a lot of night walking with my dog and it's
She's
fantastic.
a night walker.
And I really enjoy that.
I love running in the dark.
Yeah,
I early
and
morning
well,
in the
I
dark.
feel safe because
Running in
I've got a
the
big
dark,
dog.
wow.
Walking, I wouldn't walk in the dark.
Why
as
is
a
it
female
night?
so
What is
much.
it about the night that
But
you
it's,
like?
it's sort of something. Then I walk then by the water, and I'm lucky.
more
at
spiritual
Palm Beach,
too, I
and I
think.
see the moon there, but with the dog. But it's
Yeah.
also then I
Yeah.
can come back and have my herbal tea and go to bed. But it's
Yeah.
I feel good
Yes.
for doing it that
And
way.
I walk
Fantastic.
like
Yin
Nicola,
yoga.
but I walk in,
I love my
around
yoga.
the same area.
I've
Nicola
always been
goes really
active.
firm and fun. And you wear a weight vest, don't you?
A weight vest. I do that
don't
sometimes. when I
My
ask your
boobs are
opinion
big
on that
enough,
too.
so I don't have to worry.
Inbuilt
And
weighted vest.
Except at the front, not the
Member of a
back.
gym, so I do.
Yeah.
I try and at least do, especially as aging, to the importance
You've
of.
just started that. Are you enjoying that?
Yeah,
the gym.
yes. Oh yeah, no,
Like
I've been
the
a member all
weights?
my life.
No,
yeah,
the weights.
I'm doing. I'm changing my classes. And you're right
Yeah.
there, John. I'm doing some
Yeah.
other classes with weights as
Yeah,
well.
great.
I like
Are you
that.
enjoying it?
I
Have a
really am.
nice.
I really am. And
Good
do you know
girl.
why I'm doing it? Because in that class, then I don't have to do the whole weight circuit because I've kind of done it. And I can do it
Yeah.
one big hit, and I can go and continue on with other things as well. So
My thing's Pilates.
Yeah,
I've done
okay.
Pilates for 20
Pilates.
years.
Reformer or man?
Everything. Everything.
This
Okay.
one's a
Yeah.
fish. She always likes.
I'm
to
a swimmer.
Yeah,
swim, so-
great.
Yeah, I love to swim,
Great.
and I'm a swimmer. I'm a lover. I'm not a fan. No, I'm a swimmer. I'm a Pilates goer, and I go to the gym only once a week, sometimes twice if it's raining on a Sunday. And I'm
Sorry,
not
the
doing
gym
any-
is your Pilates or separate
no,
to
gym
Pilates?
is separate.
for strength training.
Weights, and I walk.
All
I
right,
love
well,
to
ladies,
walk.
let's see if
Yeah.
you've
And golf.
covered. And golf.
Oh,
play
we
golf.
don't do enough though.
Oh no, we
But we
play
love
last
it.
Friday.
We love it. We talk, and so my chin gets exercise.
We've just been working a bit with stuff. but-
Let's go
Sure.
through the 4
Okay.
key domains of exercise and see if you tick the boxes.
Yeah,
because these are
absolutely.
the 4 key most important areas of exercise if you want to live a long and healthy life.
I love it.
And I'm just going to say, if you're not an exerciser, you don't need to listen to this in great detail. Just get your shoes on and get out the door. Do not overcomplicate it. If you're listening and you're not an exerciser, if you enjoy it and you can do it, just go and do that. But if you are a regular exerciser and kind of interested in longevity and what you can do, let's go through the 4 key domains.
Okay.
So the first 2 are around cardiovascular fitness. One of them is called Zone 2 cardio, and the second one is called VO2 max training. So, and they all of these do really key elements to improve our health and longevity and ward off the 4 horsemen, which are the 4 biggest killers of Australians, which I'll talk about later. But zone 2 cardio is that steady state cardio where your heart rate is in zone 2, which is around that 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. So it's when you're able to talk,
Yeah.
but only just. So the way, if you're out for a walk and you're able to gas bag like this, although I think I have a feeling you ladies could talk under wet cement.
No, Nicola can. We're going up steps, and she holds. I'll be
Okay.
quiet.
Well,
She'll
Nicola's
keep
maybe
going.
the exception, but
She's
it's-
fitter than me. in that
Assuming
sense.
you can
You
talk,
are.
if you're able to talk like this, you're not
Yeah.
going hard enough. You should be able to talk, but you just take a few breaths. But you got to talk like this. If you can't
really?
talk because
Yeah.
you're going too hard, that's zone 3, 4, or 5. So this zone 2 is fantastic for mitochondrial health. It's really good for our heart health as well, and it's usually the type of exercise that us ladies are really good at. It's the endurance stuff, so walking, swimming, jogging, bike riding, etc. Hiking. The second cardio one, so this the second of these 4 key domains is VO2 max training. Now this is the absolute maxed out cardio. So this is the sprint. So this is when you're on a stationary bike and you go as hard as you can for 30 seconds and you're completely out of breath and gassed out, and then you have to have a recovery. Now, not enough of us do this.
No.
And this is really, really important
Really?
for,
I don't do that.
for preventing heart disease and for also boosting our energy levels. If you can, this will boost your VO2 max, which is your fitness level. And if your fitness jumps up by 10%, your energy levels will also jump up by 10% because it means that just walking up a flight of stairs is going to be that much easier for you. So it's a bit scary if you're not a regular exerciser or you haven't done it. You're like, what am I going to do? So I always think of it as a fast finish. And this is only for intermediate or advanced exercises. I wouldn't, if you're a beginner listening to this, don't do VO2 max. Train for 6 months and then do it.
Right, I'm glad you identified that.
So stationary bike and the rower are probably the two best
rower?
places
I
to
love
start.
the rower. I've got to say,
My
I
boys
do
are
love
rowers.
the rowing
I used to just sit
machine.
and watch and eat hamburgers
Yeah.
and watch them do
I
it.
A lot of us-
I love it.
I might take it up. I might
Yeah,
pick it
honestly,
up.
all you have to do 5 minutes, 30 seconds as hard as you can. 30-second recovery, super
You know,
slow.
Amelia,
just
thank
catch
you
your
for
breath.
those tips because
30
we all
second
like a
recovery.
challenge. I think if you're listening
Yeah.
there, and it's a new thing for me because if you find something that you like, and you were saying at the gym, and I've always for years liked the rower, but it's sort of something I actually really do like. I prefer that than say those walking or running machines. I'd rather be out in Mother Nature.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't like
And
them.
look, it's the sort of
But
thing where
that
like
I can do.
Yeah,
pump
so-
yourself, pump it for 5 minutes, and then whoa,
Yep.
gee, we're
Love
going to
that.
be really jumping
I
through.
know.
We're high energy.
I want
anyhow.
arms like Amelia. Thank you very much. I'm
But
going
so
to
that's-
row with you.
And if you're out
do it.
about, you don't have a gym membership, it can be things like finding a really steep flight of stairs. We're on the
Yes.
northern beaches, the big
That's
bowl
what I
of
was
stairs
thinking.
are
Roll in the hood.
fantastic.
So you
Up
run
and down
up
the
is what you're
stairs.
saying.
Yeah, you just until you're completely out of breath.
Okay,
you
so you
need
don't
to
have to go
get
to
to
the top.
that point where
Yeah.
you're like, I actually can't keep going.
Well, I thought that was bad. I didn't realise that
No,
was good.
that's-
How ironic
yeah.
is that?
It's something called
Wow.
hormesis, and hormesis is a word for healthy stress. So there are things we need to get stressed. Stress is not a bad thing, but hormesis is healthy stress. So exercise, when you're stressing your body and then it has a positive adaptation. Hot or cold therapy is an example of hormesis, when you're stressing your body through temperature changes, but it has a positive reaction. Fasting, give or take, that's a whole other conversation, can be a form of hormesis where it's actually creating autophagy, which helps your body regenerate. So VO2 max training is a form of stress that is healthful. You will have a healthier outcome on
learned
the other
something
side.
today.
But only 10% of your total load should be that VO2
Because
max.
you don't want people also listening to you going, I actually don't want to do that. Like it's sort of like going, I don't want to push myself too hard.
But can
You
I
get-
just say-
And we are talking
Yes,
50,
yes.
60, 70s.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
it's exhilarating.
Woo.
And don't
You
knock
said it can give you
till
energy when you said
try
that.
it. You
Yeah.
will finish.
Yeah.
Okay, you will go,
It's a
that
challenge.
bloody
Game
Amelia
on.
Phillips.
No,
I hate
seriously,
her
give
while
me a
I'm
high
doing
five,
it.
Nickers.
Game
We're going
on.
to do it.
But
I'm going to
you
do those
will-
stairs near the pool.
You will feel like a warrior. And
I
I'm
love
talking
that.
about start with 2 minutes and
Yeah,
build
good
up to
girl.
5 minutes. You don't have to do it and you shouldn't do it for a long period of time.
And any
remember,
challenge
it's-
is also good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
it's
good for the brain.
It's
Yeah.
good for the brain.
I agree.
And this was even
Yeah.
walk a different way and all these things like that. And what else were you sort of saying? You just go
Okay,
through
there's
the
four.
Yeah,
There are four. So
yeah.
VO2
Yeah.
max
Yeah.
training, going to get
Yep.
you fit, lots of energy, great for mitochondria. Zone 2 cardio, also great for mitochondria, your endurance. We all do that really well, sometimes too well, in that's what ladies get stuck on, is doing all that endurance work. But strength and mobility are the last two. So strength training is all about our muscle and bone health. And in my program, so I run a platform called Vitality 360 with an amazing integrative GP. It's all about functional health. We do a whole bunch of preventative and proactive.
Is that online
functional
or do you do it
tests.
one-on-one?
All done online.
Okay, and I like that because everyone's busy.
Yeah, and it democratizes it. It means that everyone, can reach it no matter what area you're in. But we send so many of our ladies for bone density scans, and it's horrific.
I bet.
How many come back with osteopenia or
I believe it.
osteoporosis. So the strength training is absolutely
Essential.
crucial.
How long,
think
how long should I
most
go to the gym for? I'm always confused. I'm like, I'm over it now. It's been 30 minutes.
Yeah, look, if it's more about
That's
what
pretty
you're
good.
doing
Better than
during
not doing
that
it,
time.
isn't it, though?
So
Is that beneficial or should I do an hour minimum?
So when it comes to strength training, it's
Yeah.
not so much about the total time that you're training, but it's how much
but as-
load
yeah,
your muscles
yes.
go under. So you should be getting close to failure. And this is
What do you mean by that?
so let's say what's one strength move you do, like a shoulder press or a
Yeah,
chest
everything. Because
press?
I've actually got a
you got a
trainer.
program.
And you would want to sort of 4 and 5.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's not heavy enough. Honey,
shit.
you are way stronger than that.
Oh, isn't she gorgeous?
You are
My legs are
way-
beyond strong. She can't
Oh,
believe
this one's a
Yes.
skier
My
as
legs
well.
are
Didn't you
scary.
throw that
Yeah.
one in?
This is I'm weaker up.
It's
Yeah.
so
So
strong.
the problem is
I can hug
We did
people.
Muay Thai kickboxing in Thailand.
We did. I love that. God, I love that.
She nearly bashed me
I
up.
did.
What's that?
love it.
That was so much fun.
I love it.
God, I love
But
you.
strength training is really important. And I reckon if you can invest in a trainer, that's a great place to start. But the big compound movements, so squats are fantastic, deadlifts, the push movement, so whether it's a bench press or a chest press, the pull movements, whether it's a lat pull down or chin-ups, for example. 30 minutes is fine, but you want to be getting close to failure. So imagine if, say you're chest pressing a weight, say you should be at a point at the 8th or 9th rep where you're starting to get the shakes and you're like, I don't think I can finish this, and you might be able to get to 12. But if you're like, if I said to you, you know, just keep going and you could get to 25 reps, which you could on that light weight, then you got to go harder.
Interesting.
And
that's
the
actually
last one was
fascinating.
mobility. Is that standing on one leg?
Yeah, it's a combination of
Yes.
stability and mobility. So when I hear you guys say that you're doing yoga and Pilates, that's amazing. So it's basically all about moving your joints through their full range of movement, because joint mobility becomes so important as we age. And we're going to be here a long time. So making sure our joints are able to move through their full range, and then the balance element as well. I've got a really funny Instagram post actually that I posted recently that went nuts, which is your age based on how long you can balance on one leg with your eyes closed. And don't make me rattle, I can't remember the seconds, but if you can balance with your eyes closed on one leg for 10 seconds, you've got the age of I can't remember, 60-year-old or something like that. But check out on my Instagram. It's a really simple test to do.
I'll have to introduce you if you don't know her, and she was on our podcast
Fred can't go running past you, fall over.
in
He's
season
huge.
1, and a very good friend who actually saw it overseas is Zora, who's got her own thing, Hack My Age. I don't know if you know her.
No.
And so she's run through some
she's
of those things too
Yeah.
about standing on one leg, and I think
mind over
and
matter
then
too.
also cleaning your teeth with using your other hand and doing all that for your
And
mind.
there's a couple-
And Chelsea Pottinger said that one to us. And,
For the advanced exercises out there, like for example, I love my ladies to be able to deadlift their body weight 10 times.
Cheap as well. I'm not there.
But even if you're not there,
My boobs
it's
are too big.
something
That's my
to-
excuse.
Or
Seriously,
it's
I reckon it's
off.
4
They're
kilos.
showing off.
It's
And they're all
true.
natural. You know,
They are bloody
jealous,
natural.
honey. I am
Yes,
so
I have to carry
jealous.
them every day, so my legs are strong.
My lips are all natural.
That's
That's
true.
quite
Both
funny.
of
That's
them.
quite funny. Her boobs are all natural. This is quite funny this day and
Okay,
age.
let's go. Let's quickly.
we've gone
Can we
through
do
those
vitamins? I want to do Mediterranean diet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I'm throwing this at you.
Yep.
Vitamins.
Okay.
Can you take too
Supplements.
many?
Yes.
Just briefly.
Okay. So you
briefly.
shouldn't be taking more than 4 at the one time. And when it
Okay.
comes to supplements, there's
Women.
you
Exactly.
need to be at a
We
point
love
where
our
you
vitamins.
need to prioritize that kind of for.
What would you recommend midlife?
My doctor kind of says between 4 and 6, Dr. Yasmina, but I like to think you can get most of it through your diet, but there is absolutely a place for supplements. So 2 places for supplements. Number 1 is when you've got insufficiencies or deficiencies. So it's really important to have your nutrient markers measured, and that's what we do on our program. We want to make sure our ladies have vitamin D, their iron levels, their B12. We look at protein. There's a whole bunch of markers that lets us know if your body's hungry for protein or not. So that's the first place where supplements can make a really big difference if you are deficient or insufficient, and get tested, because then you can take a targeted approach and it really makes a big difference to your energy levels. The second space is longevity. And this is where it gets really confusing and really
There's so much hype about longevity out there.
I know.
Oh.
But I'm going to tell you about
It's so
one.
good though, isn't it?
It is,
You
but
know?
hype. Some of it's just absolute crap.
And
we want to land it with. That's why we've got you on, really.
And I really get frustrated because the whole longevity space has kind of been hijacked by bro science and these people like Brian Johnson who are just doing this crazy stuff and having
he is one
plasma
like a show, I'm gonna live
transfusions.
forever.
And whilst that's all very interesting,
Yes.
but for a lady in midlife, you don't
Yes.
really relate to that, and it's not particularly helpful. Like, am I going to tape my mouth when I go to sleep? Am I going to have cold therapy? So I'm just going to give you 2 supplements that this amazing trial has shown how powerful they are. And to me, this is the true biohack. So let me just tell you quickly about this trial. It's a gold standard, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial.
Did you get
so
that?
absolute
Gold standard,
Go on,
gold
keep going.
bachelor, placebo trial.
There's a
I'm with
theme.
her. My brain's shut this morning or
Yeah.
this afternoon or whatever we are, round the clock.
It's very rare in nutrition science to have these really
You're
amazing
cheeky.
trials. But this was
Okay,
a
so go on, yeah.
huge trial, 2,000 older adults. It was through Europe that were put for 3 years on a bunch of interventions, on 3 interventions. So we had the placebo group that did nothing. They took sugar pills and they did stretching
I would
instead
have
of
done well in that
exercise.
one with the sugar pills, yeah.
But then you had all these different groups. But the group I'm going to particularly talk about was a group that was given 3 interventions over the 3 years. And that was 30 minutes of exercise, very simple, at home, some bands, simple 30 minutes of exercise, omega-3 supplementation,
Oh, everyone keeps talking about
and
that.
vitamin D supplementation.
D3 or because there's different
D3.
D3
yep.
or
D3
another-
with K2. D3 with K2.
God, I'm hearing this
It's
again.
really interesting
So
hearing
just
this Amelia, too, with
D3
the vitamin D.
omega-3.
'Cause I think
Yep.
with the sun as well,
Yeah.
that you're naturally going to get, and you do get it from
Yes.
that way. But sometimes you can still be insufficient, can't you?
It's so
Okay,
interesting
so
how
that's
many
3,
of our
that's
ladies.
3.
That's
I
Where's the
remember-
4th? You said
yeah.
4.
No. Well, I'm going to come back to the 4th. No,
yeah.
what I said is that you really shouldn't be taking more than about 4 supplements. So if you're looking at home and you've just got a whole shelf and you're taking
Yes.
30 things a day,
Yeah,
back
well,
off.
okay. So
I'm
we've got
saying about
D3,
4.
K2, omega-3.
Yeah, I want to tell you
Yeah.
what those interventions. So sorry, the D3 and K2 is one supplement.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you take vitamin D, you should
Yeah.
take it with you should take D3 and K2 together.
Activates each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
okay.
a brand like do we talk brands on this show? or no,
we
let's
yeah,
not.
like,
Of course you can.
but also
We
like
use
women.
our vitamins are
because,
air
because and they
supplements,
are
yeah.
terrific, especially for midlife as well, and they're science
So
based. And
T3,
D3 and K2.
Is one.
Okay, so I need to tell you the results of this trial
Yeah.
because that's what's so powerful. So in the 3-year period, the people that did those 3 interventions, exercise, vitamin D, and omega-3s,
Yep.
had a 61% reduction in invasive cancers. So invasive cancers are the nasty cancers. They mean the cancers that spread. A 61% reduction compared to the placebo group that did nothing. They had a 39% reduction in pre-frailty. And pre-frailty is basically a bunch of tests that they do to indicate how close to being frail someone is. And when you're older, frail-related deaths is up there as one of the leading
the fall,
causes.
and they don't come out of
Falls,
hospital.
But also
yeah.
just
Too many.
but also,
Sorry,
it's
like crazy.
also around just not having the resilience if you catch a cold or if you get sick, you suddenly get pneumonia. Frailty is not just about falls. So 61% reduction in invasive cancers, 39% reduction in pre-frailty, and a significant drop in biological age. Now, if that is not a true biohack, I don't know
well,
what
that
is.
says it all.
Well,
Truly,
and then
it
how do
says
you
it
get
all.
it naturally? You're saying obviously that's
Yeah,
if
it's
it's
for
deficiency, but how do you
No, so
naturally
here's
get
the
it?
other and I interviewed that. I was so blown away by this trial that I got it on Channel 9. I interviewed the lead. I tracked down the lead researcher in
girl.
Europe, and I interviewed her on my podcast. The episode's amazing. You know what was amazing, Nicola? Because I said to her, because although so many of those 2,000 participants must have been deficient in vitamin D. She goes, no. She goes, these benefits were even with people that had sufficient levels of
that's what I've
vitamin D.
heard
So
with
you're
vitamin D.
optimizing. She said when we adjusted the cohort for the deficient group of vitamin D, that 61% cancer reduction jumped up even higher.
So if I've got enough vitamin D in my body and I'm taking the supplement, what would that do?
Okay,
Would
so
you pee it
that
out?
is such a great question because you can hit an upper limit. There are some
that
vitamins like
dangerous?
vitamin C that you can just pee out, but when
Yes.
they're fat soluble like
Right,
vitamin D, there is such a thing as an upper limit. Now, I've met one person that has hit their upper limit in my entire career, but it is possible. That's why test don't guess. That's why I do like people to actually have their vitamin D tested. But the deficiency range or the reference ranges in Australia are just abysmal. So we like, in other words, you can be in range, but really suboptimal. So we like our ladies to be, when you get your blood test, it kind of sits around 80 to, if you're below 80, you really should be supplementing or getting your 8 minutes of sunshine. per day. But honestly, I just find because of the sun safety, I just find this is a key supplement. And then once you're getting up to 120, 130, you can probably stop supplementing. So sitting between that 80 to 130.
What's the results of having too much vitamin D?
It's vitamin D toxicity. Do you know what?
What's an example of that?
So unlike vitamin,
you get a rash on your skin.
Vitamin B6, if you have too much, you get neuropathy where you get tingling.
Right.
Do you know what?
I
don't even know what. Did you get neuropathy from B6?
I got tingling from it.
Yeah, and so
you're just very reactive to
I am. I'm very reactive.
And this is
such
also
a pure system.
This is also
it's the bubbles.
It's a pure life she has.
This is also why I'm not a fan of multivitamins because B6 they just shove B6 into everything. So I'm not a big fan of multi for that reason.
Yeah, we've got it.
So but sunlight's fine, absolutely. So I'm
but
definitely.
It's not enough.
Well, that's a great thing.
Is it enough? Because we're in the sun every day, Nicola. We walk.
If you have darker skin, you're going to find it harder to absorb vitamin D. If you are carrying extra body fat, okay, because carrying extra body fat can actually make it harder to absorb vitamin D. So some of these things, and also we're just so sun smart as well in Australia, which is a great thing.
Except don't
Sometimes
put the
it's
stuff
too
on
much.
it.
I mean, I think it's really important.
Some of it's
but they say
dangerous,
it's so
the
important to
creams.
get, you said like this 10 minutes, I like a little bit more than that, but also just like that natural sunlight, even in the morning, even on your
100%.
eyes. With
when
the
you wake up.
sunglasses off. Yeah, it's very, very, and let alone body clock and trying to get
true.
back.
Yeah.
It's just a very good thing, and obviously it's early.
That's a great point, getting your sunnies off. 'cause I
Yeah,
bloody wear them
definitely
everywhere.
getting your sunnies
You know
off.
what?
And that's
That's-
I'm going to remember
especially
that.
sleep's an issue.
Yes.
Sleep's an issue for you, getting that
Body
sunlight
clock.
first thing in the morning.
Interesting, because I
Doing
do. I
jet
put them
lag,
on. Straight
habits,
on.
but it's a really
I
good
know
thing.
we're running out of time. Can we just quickly,
And food, I
very
think
quick?
so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question? Because I hear it time and time again.
Yes.
And yes, it gets caught up in the whole longevity hype, but a lot of people ground it. The Mediterranean diet. I try to swear my life by
Yes.
that.
Wonderful.
How do you feel
Yes.
about it?
If you had to
I mean, is
pick-
it up there with the leader,
It's
of the pack?
the most researched eating pattern in the world that has the best health outcomes that is related to the challenges that we have. I think I spoke earlier, I'll just quickly rattle off the 4 horsemen, which is what Peter Attia has coined the 4 biggest killers of the Western world, and the Mediterranean diet helps to counterbalance and prevent these. So the 4 biggest killers of the Western world are cardiovascular disease is the first one, heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure. Mediterranean diet is brilliant for that. Cancer is the second of the 4 horsemen. Neurodegenerative diseases, so is the third one. So, Alzheimer's, dementia, etc., Parkinson's disease, and metabolic disease. So type 2 diabetes is the 4th one. And 2 of those are 100% preventable, which is cardiovascular disease and metabolic disease. We can literally prevent them. So if you want to live through diet, exercise, lifestyle, all those, they're completely preventable. Cancer, you can be pulling all the right levers. Like the Do Health trial, you might have a 61% reduction, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get cancer. And the same with neurodegenerative. There's a lot you can do to prevent it, but it's not 100% preventable. Cardiovascular disease and metabolic disease is. And people,
that's reassuring.
I know. It's equally reassuring and inspiring, but also frustrating because why is it? What if they're preventable? Why are they?
So hit
such
us with the
big
med
killers?
diet for those that don't know it.
Yeah, so
You'd have to
basically,
be aware, but-
first of all, it's a whole foods approach. So it really is prioritizing whole foods. And if you can just look at your diet and pull out as many ultra processed foods as you can. So foods that have a shelf life of 2 years, foods that come out of a packet. So it really is lots of fruit and veggies, eating the rainbow, and then choosing things like fatty fish, which is very high in omega-3s, lean proteins, chicken, a little bit of red meat's fine, dairy products as well, or dairy alternatives if you cannot tolerate dairy. But I see a lot of ladies very, very low on calcium. The Mediterranean diet has a lot of calcium-rich foods in it.
Thick yogurt.
Yogurt,
Is so
yes,
yummy. I have it nearly every
unsweetened
day.
yogurt, nuts.
Yogi bagel.
Yeah,
and
olive
berries.
oil.
And Greek
Like
yogurt.
general
Yes.
diet
Olive
is-
oil I drink, literally.
Lots of
Every day of my
olive.
like?
I think, Amelia, and for listeners, I think the more that you eat sort of good, and I think we do actually have a pretty good balanced diet, and I crave for it. I actually crave for good food, and whether that was a changing a habit from, maybe younger years or something when it was sort of like processed food, but just naturally having like the berries and the
Like
yogurt.
she'll reach
and
for
the
nuts.
thing
I'll
that-
go, I'll have anything.
I actually crave
And she'll have nuts.
and
I'm
what I live
like,
on.
and it sustains you, the nuts too.
And I love then my sparkling
So,
water. But
okay.
anyhow,
Yeah,
but
so
you
the
crave
fatty
it.
fish,
Yep.
and then we're moving on
Yep.
to
And look, honestly,
the rainbow.
yeah,
the
eating the
veggies,
rainbow. I
yeah.
think the problem is most of us know what
Olive
a
oil.
healthy diet looks like.
Yes.
And so the question is looking at your own eating pattern and going, where can I make some healthy tweaks? So we spoke about after dinner snacking, which is a really big one. The afternoon is another key time where often the chips and the snacks come out. Healthy nutrition starts at the dinner table. Yeah. So I always say if you can sit down to eat, if you can have a home prepared meal.
Maggie Beer, we just interviewed. She does every night linen cloth, even it's by herself.
Me too.
Do you too? See, it's another ritual. There you go, guys.
I, every night
It's a ritual you look forward to it.
She said
Good girl.
starting
So you've got the
from
conversation as
scratch
well.
Her food, not that everyone's going to do it that way, but it is also eliminating that processed stuff too.
Yeah.
It was easy. We went, what are you cooking tonight, Maggie?
Yes.
She goes, I'm going to put some
Zucchinis
zucchinis out in the sun so that, the hydration comes out of them.
Yeah.
And just olive oil
Back to
and a
last
bit of
episode.
parmesan on a pasta. That's it.
I love
Oh, was that
zucchini
4
with
things or
parmesan.
something?
I know.
Yes, yeah.
And we
I know.
were waiting for an hour for
And
it to
natural
finish.
herbs,
Yeah.
that last minute
Yes,
flourish
sorry.
at the end.
Yeah, that was probably the core thing because I mean, it's
Yeah.
a bit tasteless. Oh, no, just any herbs, grab, chuck.
Yeah.
I went,
And I mean,
wow.
I'm a mum of 4. I have run my business. I am the most busiest run off my feet person in the world, but I have to prioritize cooking from home. So I've got all these hacks that I do just to make my
Such
life
as?
easy. Dump
Come on,
bags.
throw it.
Oh my God, I'm all about the dump bags.
that?
They are my savior. Okay.
Give us some tips.
So it sounds hideous, and I feel like going from Maggie beer to dump bags. People are just going to be like, oh, Amelia.
Don't
But
know.
I'm a hacker, right? Because
Yes,
I
we
have
love
to,
hacks.
We
I
love
have to
hacking.
hack because
Nicola and I are the queen of hacking.
No, we're
Okay.
shortcutters,
We're Mr.
aren't
and
we?
Mrs.
You know?
Hack.
All right. Okay, so Maggie, if you're listening, please shut your ears
Oh,
right
that's so
now.
cute. I
But
love
you
it.
can buy from Woolies or Coles these giant Ziploc bags. They're jumbo Ziploc bags, so they're probably about like 35, 40 centimeters long and about 25 centimeters wide. So a big zip bag, like bigger than a A4 piece of paper, really big. So what I do is I get slow cooker recipes, slow cooker ingredients, and I will do a batch prep where I'll literally just roughly chop the carrots, I'll roughly dice the meat, everything raw, whatever you need for the slow cooker, and I dump it in the dump bag. So I'll chop up the garlic, the onions. If I'm doing 5 at a time, I'll get out the Maggi mix so I don't have to chop anything, and I just put it all through. So it's all done in the meat, the potatoes, and then you put all the raw ingredients in the dump bag, including the stock as well. I zip it up.
You're not going to freeze it.
I freeze it.
Oh, my goodness.
But
And
I
I
think that's a good one.
She's got 4 kids,
You're
but
looking.
I love it.
Especially when you are got 4 children
So
as well.
if I
love
know,
it.
like there are set
School
nights
age,
of
yeah.
of the week where I know that we don't have time to cook dinner at night. So what I do the night before, I know that, tomorrow night I take out the chicken curry, for example. It's not spicy because my kids don't like spice, but it's curry. I leave it out in the morning, it's defrosted, and I literally, as I'm racing out the door, I just dump it in the slow cooker, turn it on, off I go. And then I get home at night, just got to throw the rice in the rice cooker,
I'm
and
loving
away we
it.
go. And the house smells amazing.
yeah.
And then I get the fresh herbs and I hide the ugly
right.
dump,
Wow.
the ugly slow cooker slop with the herbs. And it tastes amazing. The house smells good.
You have given us some fantastic tips. Now I'm going to change. Tell us about Michelle Bridges. How is it working with her? And any tips from Michelle? Because she's pretty iconic.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It was
She knows the body like no one.
it was the most
From the
amazing.
Biggest Losers Day.
Yeah,
yes.
well, Mish and I go back a really long way because she was the group fitness manager of my gym that I owned. I bought a gym in Pitt Street in Sydney when I was 24, and I had that for 6 years. And she was a group fitness manager of my gym, and her husband at the time, Bill, also very, very dear friend. And I'd been doing a lot of online coaching because I was also Barry Humphrey's trainer and chef, and for a year I travelled with Barry around America
What fun.
on a
Interesting.
day
I
med
love
average.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
That's
was
a good
love
fun
him.
fact.
I
Did you get hit
know.
by a
Yes,
gladiola?
He was just
How wonderful.
beautiful.
Yes.
And
Gorgeous
so,
human.
in between training Barry, cooking for him, and getting him warmed up for stage, I would train people online. And when I got back, Mish was like, "Oh, Mills, I just love what you're doing online. I've got this Biggest Loser gig. If there's any opportunity, I've got all these people wanting to train with me. I don't know, maybe we could do something online. Maybe there's something." Anyway, it took us a few months, but we came up with this concept of the Michelle Bridges 12-week body transformation. And we didn't know. It was pretty scary at the time because Tim and I just bought a house, had a mortgage, and we both were like, we don't know what we're going to do here, but we pulled in some money, and the rest is history. 10 years, amazing. It was the fastest growing digital health platform in Australia.
I think whatever she touches turns to gold.
Congratulations.
I think that's appropriate at the
And
moment.
then
Turns to
any other-
gold.
Who are your role models, Amelia?
Oh, that is such a great question. Definitely my mum. I love my mum, Jenny. She's just amazing, and I forgive her.
Great cook with desserts.
Yeah, great with desserts. But she
still drops them over too. I hear.
Yes, she does.
For the kids.
Yes, but she reminds me a lot of you, Nicola.
Yeah.
Like she's just always got that beautiful, positive, can-do attitude. She's got a better social life than I do. She's 83, plays tennis twice a week.
Love her.
Definitely my role model.
Love her.
A lot of ladies in media are also. We spoke about them at the start of the
yes.
session, but just trailblazers and women that put themselves in rooms where big decisions get made.
Yes, yeah.
And I had the privilege of watching and in a very small way being part of the independent movement, particularly on the Northern Beaches with Sophie Scomps coming in and toppling off the Liberal leader after 74 years. Our electorate was very blue chip, and to watch a very introverted doctor decide to step out and completely turn her life upside down and campaign to become our federal member, and then again at a state level with Jackie Scrooby. People like that are my role models, and I call them worthy idols. And I love to have someone in my decade. It's Jackie Scrooby. I love to have someone in the next decade, which is Sophie, and the decades beyond, because I think if you have somebody that's just that little bit further ahead, you ladies are my role models.
Wow.
When I look at your friendship and I look at how much joie de vivre you have, like I walk away and I'm like, that's what I want to be
Well,
like.
we love
Well, I
hearing
met you
from
in the nail salon.
Don't you love
Remember?
that?
How funny was
That's
that?
chatty. That's what we're
I
talking
went,
about.
you to
We're
come on
all
the potty.
about community. We're all
So
about
we're going to ask
friendship.
our signature questions.
And be sure, and I like how you sort of say you learn from people older, and we certainly do. And also we like to learn from people younger. To us, it's all energy.
Yes.
And so you get
Energy
the younger
exchange.
spirit.
On that
energy
note, what
exchange.
makes you happy?
Yeah.
Straight away when you said that, my 4 children's faces.
Oh, look at that
Angus
face light
has
up.
the best laugh. If you could bottle up my 9-year-old's laugh and take it as a pill, we would solve all world
Oh, that's
crises.
How lucky your children are, truly. And may I ask a quick question? You were the youngest of 4?
Yeah.
How are you with your youngest? As in, are you
Ella,
aware of
as
that?
in my-
You're young, and do you go out of your way to nurture her a bit more?
Ella, I would like to think that I don't have favourites
Not
and
a
treat
favourite,
them all
I don't
differently.
think.
But
Yeah.
she, according to everyone, she can do no wrong. And she really is
love
the
that.
golden child.
That's
and I did
great.
say,
Oh, we're talking about
young
the golden-
the golden
golden-
child.
here we go
the golden-
again.
The golden question
Yeah,
for
here
you.
we
If
go.
you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, Amelia, who would it be and why?
Oh my
Whether they've
goodness.
passed over or they're here
Yes.
today, like whatever takes your
It
fancy.
just have to be one person.
Can be a
It could be,
band.
can be, you name it.
It's so funny. Barry Humphries was my absolute idol. I've never had a friendship like I
get
had
it.
with him. I miss him so much. I wish I could share a back fence with him, only because his intelligence was just electrifying, but his sense of humor, the way that just radiated through him. I know it's so strange because it's not a health icon or someone like that, but I just learnt so much from him, and I felt like the world could learn so much from him. So he would be one person. Wendy McCarthy. I don't know. Have you had her on the podcast?
Not yet.
No.
No.
She is
Yes.
amazing. You've got to read her book, Don't Be Too Polite, Girls.
Yes.
Right.
She is. She's sat on more boards. She's been the deputy
I know her
chairman
name.
of the ABC.
Yes.
She came from a very broken alcoholic country family, a horrible family life, to just go on and have the most incredible career. And she is such a trailblazer. So I would love to share a back fence. There's so many times that I would be like, wish I had a direct line to pick up.
Wendy.
How many
okay.
people have we
Wow.
interviewed that how they've turned their lives around from absolute shit growing up
Yes.
to leaders and inspiring others in their world and so happy and fulfilled.
And loving,
It's-
and just
that's
like
what this
yourself
podcast is all
too,
about.
It is about that, and you certainly are shining star.
We're always
doing
running out
that.
of
Yeah.
time. Always over time.
We could talk for hours.
And we
Yeah.
we
There's
a lot
actually
to talk
But,
tip of the
thank
iceberg,
you so much
literally.
for coming on.
Yeah.
And we like
Seriously.
people to rate and review, share this one. There's so many tips here, and our Di's got their
Gosh,
own rating
I
system.
learned.
don't know if
I was
you know
making
about
notes all the
that.
way through this interview.
So
I was.
We've got
Got bits
Amelia
everywhere.
Phillips on here at the back.
We
fence.
do.
How many stars is the Di
Oh, I think
gonna give it?
she's given so much to like 500,000 women and more, inspiring others. I just give her 100 out of 5, really.
Oh, 100 out of
Yeah,
5.
seriously.
Back
Yeah.
here
Well
is
done, Amelia.
next
Thank
week.
you.
Thank you for
So-
joining us.
oh, and
Thank
just
you.
quickly, she makes the most amazing rock and roll rhubarb and coconut muffins. Can you pass that recipe so we'll put it on our show notes?
Yes, 100%.
Guys,
Love that.
you gotta try them.
Yeah, we'll have all
Take
the
care.
details and Amelia there.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.